Welcome to everybody. Thank you for being here today. And this Trainer Connection is going to be all about the trainer observation form. Is there anybody here who has had an observation and is just here to see the updates, or has nobody here done their observation yet? No? Okay, excellent. No. So there's actually two different forms. There's actually a face-to-face form and one that would be online web-based. And we're going to go over both of those. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tell you what to expect. I'm going to do the face-to-face. So if you had a observation that was going to be face-to-face, your training coach would actually come to wherever you are, or it could also be a live webinar, kind of like what we're doing today on Zoom. We're actually here together at the same time. So what would happen is that your training coach would be there and would be observing. And they would be looking at the form, looking for a few specific things that we're going to go over. And then either right after that meeting or after that session, or at a later date, they will set up a time with you to go over the form completely. They will go over everything with you. And while you're on that meeting, typically what will happen is that you will set a couple of goals that you would like to work on for the future, and that your training coach can kind of give you some follow-up with that as well. And then you will get a copy of that trainer's observation form for your records, and then your training coach will actually record and document that training observation interest for you, so you don't even have to worry about doing that. It just kind of appears. And any training coach can pop in here. Now, what I do in TRIS is I just put the date, what type of observation it was, and just a few notes about that training, how long it was, and that we did have some feedback meeting, and that you did get a copy of that for your record. So that's kind of how I do mine. I think it's pretty similar, but if anybody does anything different, please feel free to pop in, because I do think that most of us are here today. Okay, any questions about that? About how face-to-face would work? Okay. So Julie, if you don't care to pop up the form for face-to-face, we will look at that.
You see it?
I can see it. Can anybody else see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just to let you guys know, as of July 2022, the regulations changed that anybody, any trainer that is a level 2 through 4, must have a training observation for renewal. Level 5s do not have to have that. So the top of this, as you see, is just all about you. It's your name, it's your credential level, and your expiration date, and then what region you're in. And then your CCA observer is just whoever your training coach is. And then it says training coach. That would be if, for instance, maybe Julie was on vacation. She had somebody that really needed to be done by a certain time, and I took over for her. I would put that I was the observer, but Julie was your training coach. So that's why it's kind of up there like that. And then we put the title of the training level, and then the type of training, face-to-face, the location and the date, and whether or not it was a webinar, and if it was virtual, and the date there as well. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So these are some things that we look for. Number one on here is delivery and facilitation. And the things that we're looking for is that you are establishing as a trainer an environment that allows for learning and participation. These are things such as event expectations. You are letting your participants know what's to be expected during the training. This could be, where are your sign-in sheets, a little bit of housekeeping, where are the bathrooms, what's going to happen with their training being assigned into TRIS, those kind of things. So the trainer is easily seen and heard. Obviously, this is going to be if you're face-to-face, maybe you're at the front of the room, maybe you're walking around the room for everybody to be able to see you. Obviously, if you're on Zoom, your camera is on, because we do obviously need to be able to see you as the trainer. And something else with event expectations, let me go back. If you want all of your participants on a live webinar to have their camera on, then you need to let them know that. So those are the kind of things that we're looking for. Encouraging participation to allow for sharing ideas and conflict resolution. These would be things like you're asking your group questions, you're doing some group work, but you're not just giving them the answers, just information. You're letting them debate and you're guiding them to get to where you want them to be. Make sense? If I'm going too fast, just slow me down. I talk really fast. Okay. So the next one is the trainer communicates effectively to deliver training. Can you go back up, Julie? Okay, you're there. Okay. So you've made everybody feel welcome and encouraged to participate when they come in the door. You've given them opportunities to engage with you. Maybe it's at a break. Maybe you're walking around to each table during small group work, those kind of things. You're using appropriate use of nonverbal communication and body language. Eye contact, you're speaking clearly. You have a good tone and volume to your voice, and the pace of delivery is correct. You're not going too fast, you're not going too slow, those kind of things. And then all of your written materials, which would be anything that you're using, such as handouts, that they're spelled correctly and grammatically correct. Any questions about either one of those? Okay. So the next one would be the trainer uses supporting materials and technology effectively to complement content delivery. This is basically you're prepared for the number of attendees that are present. You've got your handouts ready. You have enough for everybody. They're clear and easy to read. Any supplementing materials that you have, such as videos or forms, is easy to use and navigate. And we understand that you can practice and practice and practice, and this still may not be possible. So we're also looking that you have a plan B. If your technology goes down, what are you going to do to fix it? Are you just going to continue? Are you going to do it without a PowerPoint? Those kind of things. The trainer responds to individual and group participant needs. This means that you're considerate and respect cultural differences in content design and delivery. Content is delivered in ways that appeal to different learning preferences, and you're providing opportunities for dialogue, exploration, reflection, and problem solving. So when we're looking at your PowerPoint and any images that you have, we're going to see a variety of age, gender, skin color. We're going to remember that not everybody has a computer or even maybe a cell phone, that there's some economical differences as well. So that we're taking all of those into consideration. Ways that appeal to different learners. Do you have fidgets on your table for those who like to fidget? Do you have visuals available for those who are visual learners? Do you allow your participants maybe to stand if they need to, or pace in the back of the room if that's what they need? So providing opportunities for dialogue. Are you doing small group discussions, group work, and then allowing them to report back out into large groups so that everybody has that chance to explore, reflect, and problem solve? Okay, any questions? Nope, nothing in chat. Okay. All right, so the next section is instructional design and content knowledge. The first one is the trainer delivers content to support individual professional development and promote quality childcare delivery. These are things such as using PACES to structure training content. Do you have a training plan? Did you show that to your training coach? Are you using something that shows what your time is? And are you using that as a guide? Are you checking for comprehension throughout the training? Are you polling your participants to see where they're at? Are they understanding what you're talking about? Are you giving a quiz? Are you playing a game that asks questions? Those type of things. Are you offering engagement opportunities for participants to practice new skills and ask questions? These would be things like looking at case studies, having them sort materials. It kind of all depends on what your content is. Any of those activities that let them practice what it is that you're wanting them to learn. Okay. B, the trainer exhibits knowledge in relevant content areas. Do you demonstrate knowledge of content specific to training being delivered? This is going to show your credibility as a trainer in this subject. Are you giving examples of where you were a preschool teacher, and so you're going to share some of those examples to show that you know what you're talking about? Does the course description and learning objectives consistent and limited to 1 or 2 core content areas? We can look this up in TRIS, and probably will if it's something that's already in TRIS, just to see that the description and learning objectives are limited to those areas. The content delivered aligns with assigned course level. We talk a lot about this, for instance, you're doing a level 1 training, which should be for all staff at all levels, or at the beginning level. But are you teaching level 5 content where they may not understand what it is that you're talking about because they're just not at that level? So we do look for that as well. Any questions about those 2 sections? Come on, there's got to be a question about something. Are you overwhelmed? Don't be. I promise. Okay, so the next one is professionalism that we look at. The trainer demonstrates professional early care and education training practices. Do you demonstrate professional credibility by sharing information about experience and knowledge? We kind of touched on this a minute ago. Same thing. Are you sharing information about yourself, what you've done, your experience, the degrees that you have, those type of things, positions that you've held? Are you sharing resources and research trends to support content delivered? Your training should always be research-based so that your participants can understand why it's important. The information that you're sharing is important. Maintain and model professional, respectful behavior. I think that one's kind of self-explanatory. Right, number 4 is implementation, evaluation, and data entry. The trainer conducts formal and informal evaluation to inform content development and delivery. And what we're looking for is that you're having the learners complete an implementation plan or complete implementation activity as part of the training, to make sure that they know what it is that you want them to do once they leave. And what their goals are. Administers formal evaluation to participants to seek feedback. And if so, what type of questions are asked? Are you using 1 through 4? Are you just using level 1? Is there something maybe we can help you with a level 3 and 4 if you're not using those type of things? Doesn't matter what type of evaluation you use, whether it's, you give them a QR code to go online and do it afterwards, or if you're doing it face-to-face at the end. Any questions about evaluation? Okay. The trainer effectively uses the cabinet designated data management system, or TRIS, to collect and report training data. Like I said, this is something that we can look up in TRIS. We make sure that the content aligns with the title chosen for training and description provided in ECE TRIS entry, if that makes sense. Content entered into ECE TRIS prior to training and pre-approved if needed. I'm sure all of you all know as training that if it's something that a trainer is doing if training is being done by somebody who is not a credentialed trainer, it does have to be pre-approved 30 days prior. And you as a trainer can put it in prior if you want to, before the training. So that way we can kind of look at it, make sure everything looks good. And then that credit in ECE TRIS is assigned within 10 calendar days of training or completion date. This is one that kind of gets tricky for us sometimes because it depends on how quickly you need your observation done. Sometimes I can see this, sometimes I can't, but then I just talk to you, make sure that you've not had an issue in the past with that being late or anything like that. So any questions about that, about TRIS? Why are you all so quiet today? What do I need to do? Everybody's on mute. I do. So you have a question?
I think I do.
Okay.
It's previously though, when you mentioned they have to complete an implementation plan as part of the training. So that cannot be something that could be submitted after the training?
It can be. It can be. We're just looking to see that you are giving them something like an implementation plan, but they do not have to complete it during the training. It's just that we can see that you are doing that.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Sharon typed in the chat, does everybody really know the 4 levels of evaluation? If we say you're using a level 3 question, can somebody tell me what that is? All right. So to review, since I'm the evaluation person and I do this part in FET, level 1 questions are what most people put on their evaluations. Honestly, the end of training evaluations, it's did you like it? Was it useful? How did you feel about it? Those are those learner, how they feel about it. The level 2 questions, you're asking about knowledge and skills. So if you taught 3 ways to improve your classroom, can they give you back 3 ways to improve your classroom? Okay, so that's level 2. Level 3 and 4 are longer terms. Oh, change in educator behavior, Sarah. Woohoo! Yes, change in teacher behavior. That is 3. And 4
Very good.
is impact on the program. So those are the 4 levels of evaluation. The 3 and the 4, you have to ask before and after to compare. And you're typically not going to do that at the end of the training. You can ask the before question on that survey at the end of the training, but then the after has to come at least a month after for level 3 and at least 3 months after for level 4. Does anybody have any questions about that now that I explained it a little more?
I will comment about that.
Yes.
When I've done courses and then I follow up for feedback, it is really hard to get that feedback
Yes.
because people don't respond. So I'm lucky if I get 1 or 2, if I've
Yes.
trained like 25 people. So it is what it is.
Mhm.
Have you tried doing some kind of feedback that went with activities that they got credit for? That might increase your participation rate.
That is a good idea.
And it gives that you potentially can issue more clock hours and they can pay you for more clock hours to also help with the time that it takes to do that follow up and get that data back.
Or some kind of training incentive, like a free kit of some
A training incentive or
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
The other thing I don't think a lot of people haven't done that might get a better response rate is send it out via text. If it's like a survey they have to fill out instead of emailing it, because a lot of email gets lost, but people tend to
Mhm.
respond better to texts. So if
Yeah.
you get mobile phone numbers when you register people for training, you might be able to get some feedback that way too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good question. Anybody else? Okay. And so the last part, if Julie will scroll down just a little bit,
Uh-huh.
there we go, is just the technical assistance and follow-up plans. And like I said, that is usually completed with the trainer and the training coach. We ask you to come up with a couple of goals that you would like to work on to increase the quality in your trainings. And then we just talk about how will you know if this is successful, what support is needed from your training coach. And then we do put up follow-up plans, like if we're going to send you out something, resource needed, when we're going to do that and make sure that we do that as well. And then scroll down just a little bit. And then this is where your child care, where coach will sign and date, and that is done electronically. At least that's how I do mine. And then this whole form will be sent to you. So that's what it looks like for a face-to-face. Does anybody have any questions about the face-to-face?
And we use that for face-to-face and webinar, both
Webinar,
of
yes.
those, because they basically involve someone teaching in a room with participants. They're both pretty similar.
Mhm.
And now Miss Julie is going to talk about online and web-based.
Yes. So we this fall came up with a form to really focus on the online and independent studies because they are pretty different than a face-to-face experience, and we're looking at some different things. So again, the top of this form stays the same, but then we get down to delivery and facilitation, and it starts with, do you establish clear learner expectations? So are you giving them an overview of what's involved in the course, including the objectives and the competencies? Like, what are you talking about? Is it clear to someone who signs up for it what they're signing up for? The amount of time, do you tell them how many clock hours you're giving them for the course, as well as any deadlines? Is it something they can do at their own pace, or is it something that you're opening on a certain date and closing on a certain date? Are you doing a welcome introduction and contact information so that someone can ask you questions? With the welcome and introduction, a lot of the national agencies that have online trainings, they're Anana courses. Like, you have no idea who it is. There's no way to ask someone questions. So the learner can't really engage to the level that we would like them to be able to engage in a training. So if you are a local Kentucky trainer, share who you are, share a little bit of what your background is and how to get a hold of you if they have a question. Do independent learners have a way to connect with one another? This could be through message board postings, even if they're not on at the same time. You can use Flip for video boards where they can actually do video responses and even respond to each other's responses. You could have them connect with colleagues. They could make a plan with their assistant in their classroom. So you still can have, even in an independent study, they can still have some sort of contact with other people. And are you sharing technology requirements? Are they clearly stated? Can somebody take the course on a mobile phone? A lot of people may not have a computer at home. Do they need internet? Do they need a printer? What do they need to be successful in the course and to take your course? That's all good information to share when you're doing online courses or independent studies. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? No? Okay. Trainer develops effective training content. Again, PACES, we talked about that when we did the face-to-face. Are you using PACES? So preview, activate prior knowledge, content, exercise, summary. Are you structuring your training that way? Are you using multiple modes of delivery? Is it just all text? Are you at least using some graphics, some audio and video? Different people learn and have different preferences, better with different ways and have different preferences. Are learners required to engage in interactive activities at regular intervals? The regs say you can't just watch a video and answer questions or read an article and answer questions. That doesn't count as a training. So are they regularly doing different things to interact with the content, even online or in an independent study? Maybe you have video, maybe you have articles, maybe you have reflections. Content sources are cited where appropriate. We always want training to be backed up by research and not just opinion and experience. And then additional resources are provided for somebody who wants to learn more. This could be a list of links that says, here's more information if you want to delve deeper on the topic to help people apply it. Any questions about any of that? Not seeing anything. Okay. Moving on. Training assessments are relevant and measure stated objectives and competencies. So if you start with that training plan worksheet and you start with picking your objectives and your competencies, are the things you're doing addressing those directly and helping people get to the goal that you want them to get to? Are you doing a variety of question types in your course assessments, or are they all multiple guess? It's good to have people actually have to write an answer to something. In the world of AI, having them personalize it can help them personalize their experience, and you can't game that as easily. So you can use multiple choice, short answer, essay, fill in the blank. You can upload audio, video, text, or even upload a picture. Say you're doing a training on center arrangement. They could send you before and after pictures to show what it looked like before and what it looked like after. Before and after, you could do lists. Again, Flip is somewhere where you can do video submissions. So there's lots of different ways to get feedback from learners. Course assessments help learners test their knowledge and practice skills. You still want to see if you can help them practice skills online. Even if you're not in the room with people, you can still present them with case studies and ask them to evaluate things and make choices to apply the information. What would they do in the situation to apply the information? You could have them make a video of them doing something, or again, share a picture of something. Rubrics and examples with a bigger written assignment. It's good to tell them what you're looking for in this assignment for them to pass the assignment, and even provide them a good example that they can work from. And then course assessments ask learners to implement the workplace outcome. Now we talk about training outcome and workplace outcome. When you're doing an online training or an independent study, it doesn't have to be one and done. Like when somebody's in the room, they go back and you're not sure if they implemented things. You don't have to make your online courses one and done. You can actually have them upload that picture after they rearrange their center of, after they apply your knowledge, and see that they accomplished what they were meant to accomplish in your training, and they're actually applying it. So especially with the independent study and online courses, think about having activities where they actually show you they're applying the knowledge before they end out the course. Any questions about any of that? So quiet today. All right. Instructional design and content knowledge. Again, you saw a lot of this in the face-to-face materials. Again, you're considering respecting cultural differences and learner diversity. With online materials, are you using captions for videos? Are you using alt text on images? And are your documents and slides accessible? Both Word and Adobe have accessibility checkers. Google has its accessibility checkers. Use those. There are people who maybe have vision impairment who use screen readers who read things to them instead of them visually reading it. If you don't use those accessibility checkers, a lot of times it doesn't know what order to go in, or it may struggle with the content. So try to make it accessible to anyone. Visually appealing and appropriately sized. Can anyone tell me how big should your slide text be at max? Something we share in FET. Anyone? No smaller than 22 point. That's a good way to think of it. 6 words per line, 6 lines per slide. Because here's the thing. A lot of teachers are not doing their trainings on a computer. They're looking at them on a mobile phone. If you have a slide full of tiny text on a computer screen, what do you think that looks like on a mobile phone? Probably not readable. Or even less on a slide. Yep. Right. So make sure that you proofread your materials for spelling and grammar. Again, there's spell checks in just about every piece of software. Training for ants. Yeah. Make sure your course navigation is clear and easy to use. If you need a manual to know how to operate getting through your online course, then we made them to look at how your navigation works. And again, do your course materials work on mobile devices? Any questions about any of that? Yes, Connie, 6 words per line, 6 lines per slide at the most. The other thing I will tell you is generally there's a mobile safe area where you want to stay out of the like 20% on the edges of the slide, because they may get cut off on different devices as they scale. So you don't want to go right up the bleeding edge of the slide. All right. Trainer exhibits knowledge and relevant content areas. This is the same as was on the face-to-face. You demonstrate knowledge of the content specific to training being delivered. One of the ways you can do this is introduce yourself and your background and what your background is in the specific topic the training is on. You can do a welcome video and embed that in an online training, or even give a link to it in independent study. Course description and learning objectives are consistent again, and content delivered aligns with course level. Any questions about any of that? No. Okay. Professionalism. Again, this is the same as the face-to-face. Share your experience and knowledge, share resources and trends, and model respectful communication. Implementation and data entry, same again with PACES. And the TRIS data entry again is the same. Does your content align? Did you get prior approval if you needed it? Is credit assigned within 10 calendar days, not business days, 10 calendar days. And then the same thing, you would set goals. The things that we added on the sheet were based on Quality Matters has a PD standards that they published, and we took some things from there. And I've got background as a web developer, so I just took some things from my knowledge there. Does anybody have any other questions about independent study or online training observations? So generally when you do those, you're going to, if it's an independent study, you're going to send all of the materials for your training to your training coach. I don't know, Connie. Um, one thing at a time as you update them, one thing at a time. And then with an online course, you need to give your training coach access to the course to take it, and they should not have to pay for it. Give them free access to get into that course to be able to use it for your evaluation.
And Julie, somebody asked in the chat earlier, and I did answer them, but I'm going to answer it for the group. They asked when they needed to schedule. You can schedule anytime during the 3-year renewal period. It does not have to be right before you renew. However, if as a training coach, we've not heard from you before your 90-day letter that comes out that says, hey, you're going to expire 90 days, then we will reach out to you saying, hey, this is when you expire. This is what you need to have done. So please keep in mind that training coaches can get very busy based on how many observations they may have coming up. Make sure that you schedule that far enough out so that you get it done and completed, and everybody has enough time to get it in and you're able to submit your renewal.
But best case, and I tell people when I'm setting up observations, what's going to be the most useful for you? Do you have a new training you're working on that you want feedback on? Then use that and get some feedback on it. Like, make it useful for you. We don't want it to be busy work. Like, pick a training that you want some feedback on or that you're developing and need some help with, and we can come and watch that one for you. It's not something that we ever have failed anyone. It's always, you will always pass it. You're just getting feedback on the observation. And it's a chance to connect with your training coach. If you haven't spent any time with them, you'll get to spend a little bit of time with them once every 3 years when you do this.
Yep.
So, and we're all nice people.
Yep. And we're just,
we all really want to help you. That's
yeah. And we're just here to support you and your growth as a trainer. That's the purpose of this. So
when you come to observe a trainer, can you observe more than one trainer who are training together? Yes, but only, I would say it's normally needs to, if multiple people are presenting on the same day, yes, but you should present at least half of the training we observe. So if you're only, if it's 3 of you and you're each doing a third of the training, I would pick a different time to have us observe. But we can observe multiple people in the same visit. Yes, 2 trainers who each do about half of a session, we could do that. Absolutely. Other questions?
Julie, I'm charging you double when you come to do me. But I will be calling you. I definitely need help.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. And honestly, these forms, we are going to put them up online with the video from this in the recording. These forms you can use to evaluate your own trainings too. Like, they're not some top secret thing that you can't see. If you wanted to download one and look at your own training through this lens, this is a great lens to use to kind of look at your own trainings and kind of improving quality. So I saw another question, I think, go by in the chat. Can you send a recording of a training you are working on? Absolutely. We can watch a video of a training in order to evaluate it. Other questions?
So that must mean they are ready for their trainer observations. They're gonna start scheduling those today, right? Does anybody have one coming up? Is there one scheduled? Or anybody getting ready to expire?
You appreciate the overview. Yeah, absolutely. April made you feel comfortable. April is awesome. That's great.
I was going to ask, if we're sending a video of something that we want to be live, which form would you use?
I mean, if it's you live teaching, it would probably be most like a webinar recording almost. So I would use the face-to-face webinar observation form for that. Does that make sense? Okay.
You want me to do this one?
Sure.
Okay, so, and keep the questions coming. I think somebody, okay.
We appreciate the rubric. Yep. We'll post that for you. That's not in regulations. So if there are things that we discover need to change over time, that could change. But what we'll put up is the up-to-date current version as of now. Like I said, we started out with one version of the form and went, online and independent study are really different. So they need their own. So I'll update what's there. It's not in regs, so it could change at some point. If it does, we'll let you know that, or upload the new version.
And if in the next few minutes you still have questions, please pop them in the chat. We'll be more than happy to answer them.